Hi, my name is Danny Brown. I'm the CEO of Myriad Real Estate Group, and this is going to be our July market update. So right now in the greater Phoenix area, there's 18,500 homes listed on the market. So we're staying relatively flat month over month in terms of our inventory. It is decreasing, however, so slightly, which is very normal this time of year when Phoenix gets into the triple digits. We see a lot of people leave town. We see a lot of sellers pull their listings if it didn't sell during the spring. Kids are out of school, people are taking vacations, the population shrinks, and so our inventory just naturally decreases this time of year. So mortgage rates are holding steady kind of in the mid sixes. The altercation in the Mid-East is kind of subsiding. Markets do not believe that it's going to escalate as the price of oil comes down. The 10-year has come down to a little bit more reasonable number. And so markets are predicting that we're not going to see an escalation over there, that the end is much closer than the beginning. And so we're seeing that reflected in the market and in mortgage rates, just holding firm kind of in those mid sixes. And for Phoenix, just in general, when the mortgage rates are in the mid sixes, we have a very functioning housing market where no one really has power over the other. It's just a very vanilla market between buyers and sellers, and it's kind of balanced out. I would say if there is any shift in power, buyers have a little bit more power than sellers at this point. But as our inventory continues to decrease, that shift may go back towards sellers a bit. Other news is that Kevin Warsh took over for the Fed and had his first Fed meeting. No surprise, they did not change rates. They held them where they are. Looking at the minutes after the conversation with Warsh, more and more of the Fed governors are suggesting that we may have a rate hike in 2026 versus the cuts that they were predicting that we would have. And that's all now based on inflation. So the cost of goods has gotten more expensive. The consumer is still spending, and the job market has seemed to improve. And so unemployment rate's gone down, more people are getting jobs, the cost of goods is going up, so that causes the Fed to become more hawkish. And so we could actually see a rate hike by the end of 2026. So what can buyers expect as we get into our summer months? Well, they can expect less choices, but with the choices that are on there, those are very serious sellers that are willing to negotiate. So buyers can expect to still get a good portion of their closing costs covered, negotiate on price, get repairs done by sellers. They're just going to have less choices in the marketplace as we get into our July and August season. If you continue to be one of those buyers that is sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to come down, we have seen this for the last several years. I think that rates are just in the mid sixes, and you just need to accept that. And if they do end up dipping into the fives at some point, then potentially doing a refinance then. But I don't see a marketplace in which rates come down in the near future. I just think we're in the mid sixes through the end of this year and even into 2027. So what can sellers expect? Well, I think it really depends on the product that you're putting out there. So if you're in Phoenix's luxury market, so kind of north of 3 million, that is actually a seller's market. Those homes are appreciating. There's a good number of buyers for those properties, and our luxury market is actually really moving, which makes sense because a lot of those luxury buyers are not reliant on financing. They're using cash. The stock market, for the most part, has been ripping, and people who have money have even more money. And so they are in a good spot, and that market is moving. Kind of our middle market is a little bit more balanced. So if you are a seller in that price point, north of 500 up to like 2.5 million, you need to put a good product out there. Presentation matters, pricing matters. So if you're considering, should we paint, should we replace the carpeting? Yes, you should. You need to put something out there that people are going to appreciate. I had a client just recently where that house looked nice, but they had very dated cabinets. So we went in there for a very low cost. We refinished those cabinets. They actually ended up with multiple offers on that home and sold above list price. And I think that if we hadn't refinished those cabinets, then it wouldn't have been as successful as it was. So putting out a good product really matters right now. If you're in the sub 500 market, that is very much a buyer's market. And so putting out a good product matters even more, and pricing it appropriately, even on the aggressive side, so that you gain that interest. So, and just bear in mind that the buyers that are out there are extremely choosy. So if the home does not check all the boxes, they're moving on to the next one. And so it's not uncommon to have quite a few showings on your home before actually getting an offer on it. So that is the market in Phoenix as of July. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe, and I will see you next month.